going on, Dan K Show fans? Dan K and no Lucas this week, but it's Power Rankings week, and we don't take breaks, we don't take days off. Lucas is on his way back from the chilly north of Minnesota, and I'm here for Power Rankings week, elite, premier Power Rankings on the Dan K Show, coming at you right now. Alright, Dan K Show fans, I'm flying solo this week, so I got a little bit more of a stronghold over these power rankings. I feel like Lucas and I still went through our normal back and forth, our tit for tat with this thing, but I got to kind of get my Stretch Armstrong going because it's an all Dan K show right now. Dan K, Lucas just went out, got some great content with the Minnesota Mullets. I can't wait for you guys to see. He's on his way back. It is snowy. There's snow everywhere. That's why Dan K had to do an emergency alone power rankings. Before we start the power rankings, how about the leaders of the Holiday Follow Challenge, the Richmond Generals right now, as we tape this thing. 32 different teams with votes, at least 20 within early striking distance that I know of. Guys, gals, everybody, get out and vote for your favorite team. The way you vote for the Holiday Follow Challenge, you reach out to @the_NK Show, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You do it on all three. Hashtag Holiday Follow Challenge with your team name. You can vote up to 3 times. Each vote counts. An Instagram vote is 1, Facebook vote is 1, Twitter vote is 1. That's your 3 votes. That's how you do it. Get it done now. With that in mind, let's go. Elite Power Rankings, Top 10. Elite was a little simpler than a Premier side, but as always, a difficult task to figure out who are the top 10 teams nationwide. Starting our top 10 at the 10 spot, this team's around 500 here, the Jersey Hitmen. They had one of the toughest schedules in the month of November, and they survived it, man. Wins against the Northern Cyclones, who we have had towards the top of our list all year long. The New York Aviators, the New Jersey Rockets, the Florida Junior Blades, and the Patriots. They had to play the Cyclones 3 times this month. They had to play the Junior Canes, the Richmond Generals, and the Boston Bandits. That is 5 matchups in the month of November against top 10 teams from the month of October. The Jersey Hitmen are a squad that, when they get the net minding, they are there. The net minding has not been exactly what they've wanted it to be and not what they've been used to. 76 goals for, 88 goals against, and that comes from shots on goal totals. You need bodies in front of the net, and when you can't get bodies in front of the net, you have to give those clear sight lines to your net minders. Calling it right now, December and January for the Hitmen, watch the net minders stand atop their heads. Calling it right now. It's a Dan K show, guarantee from Dan K right there. Net minding for the Hitmen, goals against average, going to look beautiful the next 2 months, I can guarantee it. Moving to number 9. This is a team that Lucas had higher up on his list. I keep them here because obviously the month of November for them has been good. This is a team that we have been waxing poetic about all year. We've been battling about all year. We've been telling you over and over, warning you, you can't sleep on these guys. They got out of the gates slow. They were a horse running in the wrong direction at the Kentucky Derby, man. But they have gotten it together. Things are starting to matriculate in the right direction. The Tampa Bay Juniors take that number 9 spot, 12-9-0 on the year. They went 3-1 at the Islanders Hockey Club Showcase and put on a show there. The Florida Junior Blades they've beaten twice this month. They beat the Florida Eels, always tough. The Bandits and the Atlanta Mad Hatters. It has been a mad month for them. Only 2 losses coming to the Rockets, always difficult. Nearly cracked our top 10. And the Springfield Picks, who you may hear from in a bit on these power rankings. Let's move to number 8. All roads lead to Hampton Roads here at number 8. This is a Hampton Roads team used to the top half of these top 10 power rankings at both the Elite and Premier. They've played 22 games. They've got 29 points, 83 goals for this squad. They are scoring them in bunches. Key losses this month, while they split with the Canes. Win and a loss there. Lost to the Florida Eels and lost to the Northern Cyclones. I mean, Lucas made a note about the Jersey Hitmen at number 10 having the toughest schedule in November. As Hampton Roads Whalers team has an argument to make at that point. They've got the New York Aviators. They got a win over them. The Rockets they beat. Potomac they got 2 victories against. It's a Hampton Roads Whalers team that, when it's all clicking, it's there. We got to do their game as a game of the week at the Islanders Hockey Club Showcase. And E.J. Ferris was wheeling around everywhere, man. This is a guy, put him on your watch list right now, scouts at home. But it's a team that hasn't done it in the big game yet. I haven't seen the normal Hampton Roads Whalers way is when the game gets big, the boys get bigger. And I'm waiting for that moment from these guys. They did it as our game of the week on Hockey TV. That was a fun one to watch. They battled through. They found a way. I want to see them do it yet again in a big spot. We're going to have a chance to see that down at the Florida Showcase. Another team at the Florida Showcase coming up at number 7, the Carolina Junior Canes. And 7 and 6 are going to get some arguments, as well as 8. I mean, this Southeast Division is so tough because at number 6, the Charlotte Rush. Let's talk through both of these teams right here. All of these teams have beaten each other. All of these teams are just all over the place down in the Southeast right now, and it's what's kind of keeping them back towards the middle of the pack just record-wise right now. Eventually, you throw those things out the window come playoff time. Whatever 2 teams come out of the Southeast, man, they got absolute sights set on the national title, and they will be disappointed with anything less. The Junior Canes at number 7, they've got 37 points, 99 goals for. This might be the most potent offense in the country right now. 5-5 in November, though. A back-and-forth month for them, a tough schedule. Got swept by the Richmond Generals, beat by the Hampton Roads Whalers. They came back, beat them. They had a nice little split with them. The Mad Hatters and the Picks both got to them. Wins, though, for them, Hampton Roads, New Jersey Rockets, the Hitmen, and they got the Colonials twice. And that's a tough Colonials team that just beat the Cyclones with the Dan K Show on the broadcast, the Islanders Hockey Club Showcase. Everything's crazy right now, folks. Everything is crazy in this top 10. Number 6, the Charlotte Rush. They've got 96 goals for. They're testing them for that top offensive spot. Their only losses, they had 3 of them in the month. Only losses in the month of November, Cyclones, Richmond Generals twice. You're going to see those teams later. They beat the Eels. One thing, it's not their fault. The schedule, they had their wins. They didn't have that statement victory outside of that Florida Eels win for them, that normal Charlotte Rush statement victory. I'm expecting to see that when we go to Florida in December in 2 weeks. Remember, Dan K and Lucas Jones will be there for a full tilt all weekend long from Tampa, Florida. You didn't have to fight us to get us down there. Number 5 in our top 10. Another team we'll see in Florida in 2 weeks. You better be watching on Hockey TV. Number 5, the Florida Eels. I can hear the groans from Charlotte right now. The Charlotte Rush beat the Eels head-to-head in the month of November. But I look at what this team did at the IHC Showcase, and they were able to beat the Cyclones and Hampton Roads Whalers back-to-back. And there was something to that. Their losses come to a hot as a fox in a forest fire Tampa Bay Juniors team, a streaking Bandits team, a tough Rush team. 3 of their 4 losses coming against top 10 teams. The Florida Eels, this is a team that I had them a little further back, brought them back up top. I put them at 5 right now because they are that middle team in my top 10. I think this could be a number 1 team. I think this could be the number 10 team. I think they can go either way in the month of December, and they're going to have a Florida Showcase to show up at and try to show off for the Dan K Show. 4 teams left in the Elite. 4 teams left. Who will they be? Let's go to number 4. How about this pick? The Springfield Picks. The Springfield Picks, 31 points this year. They have doubled their goals against total with their goals for. Nearly. I'm bad at math. 81 and 42. That's not double. It almost is double, though. Close enough. Their losses this month. 2 to the Bandits, 1 to the Junior Blades. The Junior Blades Elite, watch out for them because they've gotten wins against the Florida Eels and the Springfield Picks this month. That is a dangerous team that gets net-minding when they need it. Both levels, Premier and Elite. Great work being done down there. Key wins, though, for this squad. Hot Tampa Bay Juniors team, the Junior Canes, and the Jersey Hitmen. I like where they're at record-wise right now. I think they need to get a few more games under their belt. Come Winter Showcase time in January, this is a team that is going to have a lot of proving ground to play in. They're going to have a tough schedule. I'm interested to see where this Springfield Picks team shakes out. This team and the Eels, you ask me, take away the records, look on paper right now. I'd put Picks and Eels behind Rush and Junior Canes. I would put the Rush and Canes 4-5, Picks, Eels 6-7. But I'm I'm gonna give them a little bit of a recency bias here. Put the Picks at 4, Eels at 5. Number 3, stealing that third spot, always towards the top in the elite. This organization does it again at the elite level, the Boston Bandits. 15-7-3, 33 points, 81 goals for. Goals against number, I shudder at a bit here at this 3 spot. 60 goals against this year. Have to find those block shots, have to limit those shots on goal, have to play better on your own end of the ice here. Get back 3-1 at the Islanders Hockey Club Showcase. That's a big showing. Their losses this month, the Cyclones, the Tampa Bay Juniors. I feel like everyone's got a loss to the Cyclones. The Tampa Bay Juniors have been tough, and the Aviators. Their wins, though, they did sweep the Picks this month. 2 wins against the Springfield Picks, who are right behind them at 4. They beat the Richmond Generals. Get ready to hear about that team. It was a shootout, so Lucas will think it doesn't count, but he isn't here right now to argue it. It was a win for the Boston Bandits. The Hitmen and the Rockets both lost to the Bandits as well. Let's get to our top 2. There's 2 teams I have mentioned as beating teams in this top 10 multiple times that have still not been called. The Richmond Generals and the Northern Cyclones. Last month, the Cyclones were at 2. The Generals were at 1. This month, the same. We leave the Cyclones at 2, and this was an interesting one. Overall, record-wise, you look at it and you say, of course, 18-2-2, very simple to say this Cyclones team belongs in the top 2 and in that 2 spot. But goals for, goals against also tells that story. 97 goals for, 38 against their dominating opponents. But at IHC Showcase, just 2-2 there. They had 3 losses in the month of November. We watched them lose to a tough Charleston Colonials team, a Colonials team that is starting to put it together. I've been warning folks to watch out for. Every coach I see, I warn them, do not fall asleep against that Colonials elite side. This is a Cyclones team that the offense has come in bunches when it comes, and at times it has kind of fallen away, fallen to the wayside. They get the defense every chance they need it, but that offense has to become more consistent. This is a problem they dealt with last year. When they struggled, it was in bunches. And then all of a sudden the success came in bunches. This is a streaky bunch led by Keenan Waters, led by Mike Giordano. These guys have a huge future ahead of them in this season. They have payback on their minds after losing in the semis last year, and they have nothing more than a national championship to go after. But the team in their way, the team that sits at number 1 yet again, the team that has been at number 1 in these elite power rankings almost every month since we've started them at the elite, the Richmond Generals do it again. Want to talk about a streak? How about 19-0-1 in their last 20 games played? They are in first in the Southeast, what I think is right now the toughest division in this USPHL elite. They've got 94 goals for, 33 goals against. They stop pucks. They score pucks. Their only loss in the month of November came in a shootout. They have not lost in regulation in 20 consecutive matchups. The Boston Bandits got to them in a shootout on neutral ice. They have been put up against it. They have played one of the toughest schedules in the elite, and they continue to win. They continue to score. This team scores in bunches. They are led by guys like Noah Farley on the ice who get the job done. They bring their lunch pail to work every day. It's a team that, what I worry about, you got to stay out of that box as you go through the year. Those penalty minutes, those PIMs there, you got to be careful come playoff time. You get later in the year, you got to stay healthy. You got to stay out of the box, and you got to stay on the ice at even strength, because when you can score the way this team can, when you can defend the way this team can, they do it in all facets of the game. You want to keep your boys on the ice. That is our elite top 10. Let us know what you think at _DanK Show. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Twitter's where you'll reach me directly every time. I'm always combing the Twitter sphere. Let's go back through it. Number 1, the Richmond Generals. Yet again. Number 2, the Northern Cyclones. That has not changed since last month. Number 3, the Boston Bandits. Number 4, the Springfield Picks. Number 5, the Florida Eels. Number 6, the Charlotte Rush. Number 7, the Carolina Junior Canes. Number 8, the Hampton Roads Whalers. Number 9, the Tampa Bay Juniors. And rounding out the top 10, the Jersey Hitmen. Those are your Dan K. Show USPHL Elite Power Rankings. Come on back. We're doing a premiere next.
You are watching The Dan K Show. Everything USPHL. From the NCDC to the Premier and Elite Leagues. The Dan K Show with Dan K and Lucas Jones.
Welcome back, hockey fans. You've gotten your top 10 in the Elite. You're probably frustrated. You're probably mad. Or if you're towards the top there, you could be a bit excited right now. Remember to reach out to us and let us know your thoughts on social media. Now, we get into, I always say every single month, I give the old patented, this is the hardest thing to do, is make a top 10 in the Premier Power Rankings. Over 50 squads to pick from. There's winners all over the place. There is not a weak team in this division right now. It is the best, and there have been a few articles that have come out recently from some folks in the industry that agree with me. It is the best at placing NCAA athletes in the Tier 3 level. It is having an incredible year, this USPHL Premier Division, and trying to pick the top 10 is unbelievably difficult. It is unbelievably difficult, and the first division I look at before we jump into the top 10 is the Mid-Atlantic. You look at the top two teams in that Mid-Atlantic, the New Jersey Rockets and the Philadelphia Hockey Club. They have combined to go 18-3 in the month of November. 18-3 in the month of November. That is insane from these two teams. Behind them, the New York Aviators just might be the best team in that Mid-Atlantic division. You look at the way they play, they are the Mike Leach offense of hockey. They are run and gun. They are shotgun all day, Hollywood style, high flying action. They're 11-7-0. They're right behind these guys. They have beaten some of the best teams in the Premier. They beat the Richmond Generals, the New York Aviators. This Mid-Atlantic division needs a big-time star next to it right now. We congratulate the folks there on what they're doing right now, but only one team from that division made our top 10, and they are in the 10 spot. That is the Philadelphia Hockey Club, edging out the Hampton Roads Whalers, edging out the New Jersey Rockets for this spot, edging out a handful of other teams, the Minnesota Mullets, edging out the Minnesota Moose. They have edged out a handful of teams for this 10 spot. The Philadelphia Hockey Club makes it in the top 10 for the first time in Dan K Show Power Rankings history. Top 10 of the Premier Philadelphia Hockey Club. Also, congrats on the NCDC affiliate that the Philadelphia Hockey Club will be housing in less than a year. Next season, Philadelphia Hockey Club, get on it, call the Dan K Show. We're in the same state as you folks here. Let us know where you need us, when you need us, and when you want us on the broadcast. Number 9, in this Premier Top 10, I was bouncing all over the place. I had so many ideas in mind for this one. I always talk about recency bias when we talk about the power rankings. It's what have you done for me lately, right? You may be 18-0 in the months of September and October, but if this is the November power rankings, this is the most recent power rankings, it's December right now, I got to look at what you've done lately. This team, the schedule they played, going 4-4 in the month of November, was the most difficult schedule I saw on paper in this month. They had 4 losses in this month, every loss to a top 10 team in the Premier Power Rankings. It is the Wisconsin Rapids River Kings, who do not skirt. They could not avoid the Dan K Show curse, the Dan K Show Power Rankings curse. Every Midwest West team we have ever ranked as the best Midwest West team has immediately dropped from that perch the month that we put them there. So if you are in the Midwest West and you have not heard your name called yet, shiver, be scared, be worried. We apologize now for the Dan K Show, but the Wisconsin Rapids River Kings last month at 3 dropped to number 9, and we solely blame ourselves, but also a tough schedule for them. They did get key wins. They beat the Northern Cyclones. They beat the Chicago Cougars twice, the top team in the Midwest East. They beat South Shore handedly with a nice 7-goal output there. Losses, an undefeated Islanders Hockey Club team. A tough general side at 4-2 loss, and twice to the Rum River Mallards. And that is where we go for the number 8 spot. If you beat a team that's number 9 twice in a month, guess what? You get the 8 spot in our power rankings. And that goes to the Rum River Mallards. 7-2 in the month of November. Their losses, a 3-2 close loss to the Hudson Havoc, who sit in first place in the Midwest West right now, standings-wise, and a 5-3 loss to the Minnesota Mullets. Their big wins, twice against the River Kings, each by 1 goal. 1 in a shootout, 1 in OT. 2 versus the Blue Ox at home in a home and away series, and 1 versus the Mullets, which they avenged a 5-3 loss in. They're 2-1 versus the River Kings this year. Against the 0-1 against the Moose and 0-1 against the Havoc. This is a Midwest West that anybody can win it. I think there are 9 teams right now that can compete come playoff time. I think there are 7 teams that could potentially make a national run. I think there are 4 teams in this Midwest West that could raise a cup this year as of right now. This division is the craziest division in all of hockey anywhere. Do not even come at me with anything else. I don't want to hear it, brah. That is the division to beat in the entire hockey world right now, the Midwest West and the USPHL Premier. Number 7, the Florida Eels, one of the few teams with 2 teams in the top 10, number 5 in the Elite, number 7 in the Premier. The Eels continue to be the top team in both divisions in the Florida division. Both of the Florida divisions, Elite and Premier, the Florida Eels at the top, 17-3-3. With 37 points, 100 goals for it. This Premier team is a lot different than the Elite side. The Elite side, they like to get physical. They like to play that defense. They like to get guys out with the puck here. The Florida Eels, on the Premier level, they're scoring goals, man. They're scoring goals in bunches. They are fun to watch at both levels right now. And this Eels team, 100 goals for. That is a big number. Can't wait to see them down at the Florida Showcase. They lost to the New Hampshire Junior Monarchs and Connecticut Junior Rangers this year. That dropped them back a bit this month, correction. The key wins, they beat Tampa Bay. They beat Philly, who made our top 10. That became a top 10 win for them. They beat Skipjacks as well. So Florida Eels team, being the top in your division, always gets you weighted a little higher in our power rankings. That's how they find their way into the top 10. Number 6, they're going to want vengeance against us after they hear that they're in the number 6 spot. The number 1 team in the Great Lakes, the Pittsburgh Vengeance, they fall into the 6th spot. Let me go through Dan K's ranking of Pittsburgh. I had him at number 2. I had him at number 3. I stopped. I erased everything. I had him at number 7. I stopped. I put it back at number 4. They ended up at number 6 after multiple conversations with Lucas Jones from Minnesota in a snowstorm. We finally figured it out here. They beat the Metro Jets. They lost to the Metro Jets. They had a nice little split with them. They've beaten the Bighorns 3 times in this month. They are a team that fall in the 6th spot solely because of the schedule they have played thus far. But let me point out a date. For those folks with the Pittsburgh Vengeance wondering, how did we get higher than the 6th spot? Well, guess what? Dan Kay and Lucas Jones will be in Chicago, Chi-Town, the Windy City, home of Mike Ditka and Dick Butkus and Hurricane Ditka and Michael Jordan and Dabbles and Dabbers. And on 12/22, December 22nd, the most important day, I think, in the history of the Pittsburgh Vengeance franchise, as they will be playing in a doubleheader, the Minnesota Moose and the Hudson Havoc in the same day. They can absolutely reshape their season there in terms of our power rankings, and they can make a statement to the entire USPHL with a big performance on December 22nd. Right before the holidays, man, that is a great time to give yourself a little gift there with 2 wins against 2 of the toughest foes in the USPHL Premier. Number 5, this organization has been loud and proud of late. They sit at number 2 in our Holiday Follow Challenge right now. We may be making a trip up to Utica. The Junior Comets have been firing on all cylinders. You want to talk about a team that gets the net minding and gets the goal scoring? 123 goals for. 123 goals scored for the Utica Junior Comets. They score forever. You want to know how many key losses they have in the month of November? None. 9-0 in November. This team's beaten the Buffalo Thunder, the Philadelphia Hockey Club, the Tampa Bay Juniors, the Twin City Thunder twice. They do not lose. They have won in bunches. You look at some of the guys they have on this team, the depth that they have. They feel comfortable. They've got leadership in the locker room. It's a great bunch of dudes in there. You get on the ice and you feel confident. You feel like you can win every day. And right now, this Utica Junior Comets team has nowhere to go but up in these power rankings, because the strength of schedule hasn't been exactly what you need to be top 4 in our power rankings. A lot of it's strength of schedule right now, but that strength of schedule is coming. You have a record of 23-1. You get matched up with some of the top foes come showcase time. This Utica Junior Comets team has every right to be in this top 5, and they may just be higher by the time we talk about them again in January. Number 4, Havoc is reigning in the Midwest West, so why not the Hudson Havoc at the top of the Midwest West and at number 4 of our power rankings. When in doubt, when you can't pick a team out of the Midwest West correctly, go to the team that's number 1 in the standings points-wise. 33 points for them, 16-4-1, 113 goals for, 52 goals against, more than double their goal against output in the goals scored. 7-1 in the month of November, which is the best out of the top 3 teams we put out of Midwest West. They're 2-1 against the Moose, a very tough Moose team that just missed our top 10, probably 11 or 12 in my power rankings. 1-0 versus the Mallards, who are at number 8, but 0-2 against the River Kings. This makes no sense. This division is lunacy. I can't follow with it. Every time I think I've got it under grasps, I've lost it. This Hudson Havoc team, right now, depth-wise, can compete with anybody. I still will stand by my statement I made 2 months ago, last month, weeks ago. I think the River Kings are the team to beat in the Midwest West, but the Hudson Havoc and everyone else in the Midwest West always loves to prove me wrong no matter what I say, so we put the Havoc at number 4. Congrats to those boys out there, the Hudson Havoc, reigning Havoc, right now in the Midwest West. We go to our top 3. And at number 3 and number 2, this was the most difficult decision for me. I mean, I would call these guys tied 2, both at number 2, because I don't think there's anything that really splits them. They both had a loss that they were frustrated with at the time. I mean, the Charlotte Rush had a loss they were frustrated with in this month. The Richmond Generals had a loss they were frustrated with in this month. But they both have a split series between the two of them. On the year, they're 2-2 against each other. In the month of November, they're 1-1 against each other. They've gone to each of each other's barns and split. So nobody's got the home ice advantage against the other. The Charlotte Rush have beaten the Colonials twice. They beat the Bandits, beat the South Shore Kings. I mean, they had a good month there. They went 6-2 in November. The Generals went 8-2 in November. Beat Potomac twice, the Junior Canes twice. But the big differentiator that puts the Rush at 3 and the Generals at 2 for me is a 4-2 victory against the Wisconsin Rapids River Kings. I think outside of division, the best win non-conference comes from the Richmond Generals, a 4-2 victory over the Wisconsin Rapids River Kings. And then they lost to the Aviators 7-6 at the Islanders Hockey Club Showcase. That was the last game of their weekend against an Aviators team that tired isn't in the vocabulary. Breaks, they don't know what those are. They don't slow down. They go. A 7-6 loss at the back end of a trip. I think that's one, again, that's like running into that run-and-gun style of offense after you just played Navy and Army in back-to-back weeks on 3 days rest on a Thursday night. You're exhausted. You're tired. You're worn down. This is like that the exact opposite of that LA Kings style with Jonathan Quick and that won them 2 cups. Richmond Generals 2, Charlotte Rush 3. Number 1 is the easiest decision I have made in the last 24 hours trying to put these power rankings together. Guess what? When you don't lose a game, there's no way you aren't number 1. This late in the season, 18-0, this team has yet to lose a game. 91 goals for, 38 goals against, 9-0 in November, 10-0 since the last time we did these power rankings. They've beaten the River Kings. They've beaten the Cyclones. They've beaten the Monarchs, the Twin City Thunder, the Bandits, the Pal Junior Islanders, the Potomac Patriots. What is going to be huge for this Islanders Hockey Club team? How do they stay at number 1? With the schedule they are going to have in front of them, the plate full of tough matchups they have in front of them coming up at the Florida Showcase in Tampa, Florida. 2 weeks from now with the Dan K Show in attendance, the number 1 team in the country. Let's listen to this schedule. This is, talk about Sunday scaries. This is the on-ice scaries right here. Florida Eels, Hampton Roads Whalers, Charlotte Rush, Charleston Colonials. Whoa. That is a tiring schedule. That is a wear you down, grind you out, battle. We're going to play an Eels team that wants to score 150 on you. Then you're going to play a Whalers team that is just aching to get back in this top 10, wanting a statement victory against the tough Islanders Hockey Club squad. Okay, we survived those 2 games. Here comes Trevor Jewell and the Charlotte Rush A team that just brings it every day. There isn't a day off for the Charlotte Rush. Mentally, these boys are ready to go. You got that in Game 3. Then after all that, a Colonials team that sneaks up on you, man. This is a team that gets out fast. They love to leak that guy a little early from the zone. They get net minding. Their net minding's been real good of late. I don't know, man. If they are going to stay at number 1, they are going to earn it. If anything, they're going to have the toughest strength of schedule in the month of December. I can't wait. And I can't wait for you folks to keep watching the Dan K Show each and every week and weigh in on who you think the top 10 should be. We want to hear from you. What'd you disagree with? What'd you agree with? Love getting chirped by the boys here. Premier Power Rankings, run back through it. Number 1, undefeated, still number 1, the Islanders Hockey Club. Number 2, the Richmond Generals. Number 3, the Charlotte Rush. At 4, the Hudson Havoc. We apologize now to all of those in Hudson because every time we put a Midwest West team at the top of the Midwest West, something goes wrong. We apologize, Hudson Havoc. Number 5, the Utica Junior Comets. Number 6, the Pittsburgh Vengeance. Number 7, the Florida Eels leading that Florida division. Number 8, the Rum River Mallards. Number 9, the Wisconsin Rapids River Kings. And number 10, rounding out that top 10, the Philadelphia Hockey Club. You don't like it? You don't like where you ranked? Well, guess what? You get to decide on the ice because that's where all of this is decided. The Power Rankings, the one and only Power Rankings, the most important Power Rankings in all the country, the Dan K Show's Power Rankings, Premier and Elite. You've heard them. Come back for the Empty Net where we talk to you, my favorite portion of each and every week's show.
Welcome to the Empty Net.
Welcome to the Empty Net, my favorite portion of every show where Lucas, who's not here right now, standing in as Lucas on this week's episode, Mr. Grits and Mr. Lundquist. But the Empty Net is my favorite portion of every show. To save Lucas, who's traveling back from Minnesota, the trouble of finding all your tweets like I normally do and plugging them up on the show, what I will do is give you folks who have missed it the top 10 update for the Holiday Follow Challenge. At number 10, it's a tie between the Springfield Picks and Chicago Cougars. The Minnesota Moose are at 9, Junior Canes are at 8, the Mullets are at 7, Aviators at 6, Wisconsin Rapids River Kings at 5, Florida Junior Blades at 4, IHC at 3, Utica Junior Comets at 2, and leading the way for the second consecutive year, the Richmond Generals. Will it be Generals again? I may have a surprise for you all on next week's episode. May have a surprise for you. I don't want to let you know just yet, but what I need you to do until then is keep voting. Right now we have over 600 total votes tallied. We have all kinds of new followers. We have folks reaching out to us, letting us know where they want us to go. Remember, the winner of the Holiday Follow Challenge will get Dan K. Pretty cool right there, in a pretty cool suit, brah. Out to your rink alongside Lucas Jones, producer Lena. Producer Lena's pictures for the guys. We'll have all kinds of cool pictures for the gram. We'll have a pregame show live on site with your fan base. We'll have a broadcast on Hockey TV presented by Dan K with the shot score, which there was nobody in the game like Dan K and Lucas Jones on a hockey broadcast. It'll be fun, man. It'll be a great time. We did this last year with the Richmond Generals. We had Natalie Calabat, local news star. We had Jeff Katz there, local radio star in the Richmond area, who we got a chance to talk with, sit down with. We had Morris Murphy, the voice of the Richmond Generals, on the broadcast with us as our color commentator. It was a really great time. It was a big event. I want to make it bigger this year. Whoever wins this thing is going to be huge, ginormous, crazy. Let's go. How do you vote? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at @Dan K Show, your team's name, or at your team's page, hashtag Holiday Follow Challenge. It's that simple. It's that easy. You can vote on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Get voting. Get out there. Get typing. Get those Twitter fingers going. Get those Facebook posters going. And get those grammars happening right here, because when Dan K's on a mic, it's always hockey night, and it can be hockey night in your neck of the woods if you vote enough in the Holiday Follow Challenge. We'll see you next time, hockey fans. Really odd ending a show when Lucas isn't here. I was going to have Gritty stand in for him, but he's got too much glare, so I just kept him there for support. But, I mean, this is it, folks. It's me. It's Dan K. It's the Dan K Show. Lucas will be back next week. No word yet if I'll be there, because Dan K might be in another part of the country as well. Bye, everybody.